guys, so setting yourself up on all fours. The hands are directly below the shoulders, the knees are directly below the hips. Shoulders back, shoulders down, connecting the shoulder blades to the back of the ribcage, so making sure that you're not slouching and collapsing through. I'm not arching and rounding through the back. I see if I can try and focus on 3 soft curves that are still running down the back. Maintaining that alignment through without letting the body shift to the left or to the right. I'm going to start bending the right elbow and then picking up the right hand. Imagine to be balancing 2 glasses of water on each shoulder. Can I try and keep those glasses there? Can I make it hard for myself? Can I fill the glasses to the rim? Can I try and hold the water in the glass? Returning the hand back down, and then with the left I'm going to do the same. If I find that I can't do all 4, so my wrist won't take the pressure, it's too painful for my knees, then I'm going to lie down on my front. If you're down on your front, I'm going to use the same connection. Just making sure that the arm is coming up, is the arm that is lifting, not the shoulder. So I'm not rolling side to side, I'm not twisting, I'm not shrugging the shoulder up to the head. I'm going to try and maintain shoulder level and then find the lifter from the shoulder joint. So if you're up on all fours, you've got a little bit more space you can play and experiment with. Noticing that gentle tension crossing the belly, helping you to stabilize and support the body as you're switching from side to side. So I'm happy with the arm. I feel that I've got a good control over the shoulders. I'm going to try one more time on each side. So picking up one hand, popping it back, picking up the other, and then easing it back. Pushing back into shell, sending the hips back and towards the feet, encouraging the arms to stretch forward, the shoulders to lengthen, the back to stretch, the hips, the lower back, the back of the bum too. Same as before, if I can't go back onto my knees, I'm going to come up into sitting instead, and then tucking the hands and the arms are behind the legs. I'm just going to stretch back, see if I can encourage a gentle stretch down the upper back, into the lower back, into the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. And then resetting the position, same as before. And then this time I'll be focusing on the legs instead. So the back is in neutral, same as before. The shoulders connected, the belly working underneath it to support. This time I'm going to move the leg. Now with the arm it's easier, as I've got the elbow. I can bend the elbow and the arm comes up quite a long way as well. The shoulder can still keep still. With the leg that's not going to happen. If I lift the knee, I can't bend anything midway. So if I lift the knee, my hips will immediately go wonky. They will start twisting. What I want is for the hips to stay level. So this time I'm going to pop the 2 glasses at the back of the hips, at the back of the bum, and then keeping those glasses balancing there. What I'm doing, instead of lifting the knee off the ground, I'm just going to try and take the pressure off the knee. So at the moment there is no pressure going under my right knee. So I can swing the leg easily, but my hips have not twisted, they've not moved. So see if I can fine tune that control, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So pulling up on the left, easing back, and then pulling up on the right. So same as you did for the arms, see if you can be aware of that tension, crossing the front of the body, helping me to stabilize that little lift. The smaller the lift, the better. So think of just enough space for one single page of the book to slip under the knee, not the whole book, so just one page of it. And then if I'm happy enough that I've got good control over the hips, then I'm going to start adding the arms. So the next one, as I pull up on the right knee, I'm going to bend that left elbow and then take away the left hand too. I'm going to ease them back and then pulling up on the left knee and the right hand. Same as before, if I can be on all fours, I'll be lying down on my front, and then starting with the legs at first, starting with a little hip extension, keeping the leg nice and straight, squeezing one and then squeezing the other one up. Once that I feel that I've got enough control of the hips of the legs, and then I'm going to start combining the arms and the leg together. Opposite arm and leg moving at the same time. See if I can maintain that control through, making sure that the hips are not swinging side to side, that the body's not rocking forward and back, up or down. See if I can hold myself stable. So think of the two glasses balancing on your shoulders, the two glasses balancing on your hips. See if you can keep them all there. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Pushing back into shell, unloading the wrist, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms, getting a little bit more of a rest for the shoulders and the hips. I feel a little bit more connected, the shoulder girdle, the hips are working together a little bit better. I'm going to try and see if I can get a little bit more connection right through the middle, so I want the belly to do a little bit more supporting. So this time I'm going to lower myself all the way down until I'm resting on the front, and then propping yourself up onto the forearms, making sure that the arm is directly below the shoulder. So I've got a nice good support underneath the shoulder. The arms are nice, the forearms are, the hands are nice and relaxed. Just try not to grip, try not to clasp, try not to tighten up through the arms. I'm going to push down through the forearms and then raising the chest and the head up. Just making sure that again I'm not sagging between the shoulders. Then scooping the belly in, scooping the belly up. I'm going to lift the belly and the hips off the ground. Feeling the belly tensing to maintain that lift. See if you can come up a little bit higher. See if you can come up onto the fleshy part of the knee. Just being aware of the back and making sure that your shoulders and your hips are at the same level. The lower back is not arching, so the bum is not sticking up in the air. The back is not collapsing in the middle. At the same time, I'm not bracing so tight through the shoulders of the upper body that my upper back is rounding so much. So see if I can keep it softer through the shoulders and upper back, strong through the middle, and then high from the hips. If I feel that this is still quite comfortable, still quite easy to hold, then tucking the toes under, lifting the knees up, locking the legs are nice and straight behind you. Think of the front of the thigh tensing to lock the knee, to extend the leg, the back of the hips are connected, the front of the belly connected, and then same as you did on your 3/4 position, see if you can be aware of the upper back has still been soft, the lower back has still been soft, there is no strain in the back, or just a strong working going from the shoulders across the front of the belly all the way down into the legs. If it starts getting too much, I can always drop back onto my knees. If it starts getting too much on the knees, I can always drop down onto the thighs. Making sure that you're breathing, not holding the breath. The head is staying lifted. I'm not letting it dangle, I'm not letting it collapse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Lowering yourself all the way down, allowing the belly a little rest, the shoulders, upper body a little rest, and then I'm going to try again. So I've got my 3 options. I know which one works better for me. I might start into a full plank and then just drop down into a half, or down just enough to lift the belly and the hips off the ground. Choose the option that suits you better, and then this time we're going to try and see if we can stay up for a little bit longer. So setting the arms, connecting through the shoulders, scooping up through the belly, lifting the hips, lifting the thighs if you can, coming up onto the knees, making sure that the back is in neutral, tucking the toes under, extending through the legs, locking the legs are nice and straight behind you if you're going up onto the toes, and then holding it there. Focus on the breath, making sure that the arms are not stiffening, the hands are not clenching, the head is not dropping down. Noticing if the back starts changing, if the tension starts changing. Can I still feel it in the belly? Do I start feeling in the back? If I'm feeling it in the back, I'm going to drop down a level. I'm going to have a little rest there, stay there for a little bit longer, then I might be able to lift up again. So just the plane with the 3 options. Noticing if one side is fatiguing more than the other. Noticing if one arm is compensating more than the other. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, lowering yourself all the way down, allowing the belly, allowing the shoulders a little rest. There's a little bit more connection at the front of the belly too. I'm going to change the load. So this time rolling over onto your side, setting yourself into sideline. The arm is extended, the head is supported by the arm. If you find that doesn't work, then a block, a towel, a jump or anything, I'm just going to pop it under the head and then wrapping the arm around the block so that the shoulder is in a more comfortable position. So I'm choosing the option that works the better for your shoulder, for your neck. The legs are straight, the body is straight, just making sure that I'm not sagging and flopping. I'm trying to hold myself up. The side of the belly connected, just imagine to create a little gap between the waist and the floor. The hips are level, the rib cage is holding in, it's not rolling forward, the back is not arching. I'm going to set the top arm down on the floor in front of me and then focusing on the legs. I'm going to reach long into both legs and then pulling with the top leg. I'm going to lift it up slightly until I can see that the foot is pretty much level with the hip, so the leg is parallel to the floor. And from this position, think of the movement coming from the hip joint, so it's a hip flexion. I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to start flexing the hip and then kicking the leg forward, making sure that you're not letting the hips go forward too, it's just the leg. Then I'm going to flex the foot, I'm going to draw the leg back into the starting position and then pointing the foot, I'm going to kick it forward again. And then coming back. Imagine a long shelf in front of you. See, as the leg comes forward, you can keep that leg, you can keep the foot on top of the shelf, making sure that it doesn't drop off the shelf. If the foot just start hanging, the leg start internally rotating, it will start pulling your pelvis forward, twisting you forward, bringing you forward into that kick. So see if I can stay on my side, the side of the bum is holding the leg up into the hip socket, the front of the hip and the front of the belly are encouraging that movement. So actively stretching into the back of the leg as the leg moves forward, as the leg moves back. The arm pressing down into the ground as much as you want, making sure that the arm is not down by your side. The tendency will be to twist or to rotate. We're not after any rotation, just a nice, stronger hip flexion. And then to encourage more movement into the hip, think of the direction the leg is moving. If the leg internally rotates, then I'm limiting my range of movement as the leg and the hip is closing, is getting in the way. If my leg externally rotates slightly, so if the foot turns the point up and towards the ceiling slightly, then I'm suddenly accessing a lot more range. Just to see if you can think of that slight external rotation as the leg comes forward. 2 more times. Forward. And back. Last time. Forward. And back. And releasing down. Letting the knee slip forward, giving the hip a little tap. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. And then I'm going to try and do a little bit of work, but this time through the upper body. Keeping the knee where it is, so I'm going to drop it down on the floor in front of me. Hip replacement, especially if it's a recent one, you might find that that's taking the leg across the middle line, so it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel comfortable. So if that's the case, I'm just going to bend the knees and then bring both legs to the front so that hip is level. If I can, I'm going to put the knee down on the ground. The arm that is under the head, I'm going to bring it around to the front and then reaching it forward until you feel that you're resting onto the back of that shoulder. The head on the floor if it's comfortable to do so. Or again, I've got my little pillow, my little towel there. I'm just going to rest the head on it, making sure that the neck is in line with the rest of the spine. Top hand, I'm going to bring it to the head, side of the head, top of the head, back of the head, whichever it's easier. And then from there, I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to start turning the ribcage to the ceiling. So I'm going to square my ribcage up and towards the ceiling. Easing my way back. And then I'm going to try that again. Think of that twist. If you find that the back is catching, so I can feel a little pinch right there into the back of the hip, that's normally when the knee is too far down. So if you can pull the knee up a little bit higher, encouraging the back of the hips and the lower back to stretch and open up a little bit more. Noticing if the knee can stay on the ground or if it starts lifting away. If it starts lifting away, it's not the back that is rotating anymore, it's the all of the body that is actually turning to the side or to the back. So see if you can be aware of the knee staying on the ground. If your legs are together, the knees are staying together. So the hips are not moving, it's just the upper body moving. And then coming back. And then I feel the movement, it feels a little bit looser, the back is moving a little bit better. So if I feel that I can progress, then I'm going to start going for a nicer wide opening. So taking the arm up, I'm going to open up nice and wide, and then taking the arm with me, I'm going to try and encourage the arm to open up and reach to the point of stretch in the front of the chest, to the front of the shoulder. And I'm going to ease the arm all the way back and then trying again. But same as before, making sure that the knee is still on the ground. So it's the back rotating and the arm moving. The only thing I wanted to focus on is the rotation, as the tendency is to start focusing too much on putting the hand on the floor. I can put the hand on the floor, you can all do that badly. I just needed to twist the arm, drop it down, and then I can put my hand on the floor. But the shoulder, it's in a really awkward, twisted position. So if instead of focusing on the hand, I can focus on the front of the chest, can I try and soften the elbow and then bring the arm up more towards the head, trying to find a nice stretch that goes into the front of the shoulder, into the front of the chest. Then I'm going to ease my way back, and then I'm going to try and find that same opening again. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Hold it at the back of there. Think of keeping the arm suspended, so using it like almost like a dead weight to help me stretch a little bit more across the front of the chest, and encourage a slightly deeper rotation if I can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease and back. Giving the shoulder a little bit of a roll, so a little bit more connection at the front too. I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. So swinging the legs to the front, pushing yourself up into sitting. I'm going to take the legs straight down the other way, taking the block with me just in case I need it for the head, and then setting yourself up for the side kick first. So the arm underneath the head to support the head. The legs are straight, the back is straight, just to see if I can find that nicer, stronger position, that nicer, stronger connection at the front. Supporting arm comes down to the floor in front, reaching long into the top leg, lifting it up until it's level to the hip. And then taking a deep breath in as you breathe out, flexing forward from the hip, kicking the leg forward. First movement is always the stiff one, flexing and pulling back. Same as on the other side, to see if you can be aware of that shelf in front of you. Can I try and keep my leg, my foot on the shelf, making sure that it doesn't fall off the shelf, so it's not dropping down to the ground. The hip doesn't feel as if it's been pulled forward. the pelvis is not rotating to the front. So see if I can use the side of the bum to hold that leg into the hip socket, the front of the hip and the front of the belly to create that forward flexion, that flexion with the leg. Easing back and then trying again. Bottom leg is nice and straight, the back is not moving, so I'm not trying to round from the hips, I'm not trying to stiffen up through the back, pushing into the arm as hard as you need to take the weight to support that leg as it's moving forward and back. And then same as on the other side, encouraging that slight external rotation. See if you can try and create as much movement into the hip and the groin to allow a bigger kick. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, easing the knee forward, releasing the hip, relaxing the leg, and then I'm going to move into the upper body. So the arm that is under the head, I'm going to bring it forward, making sure that it's really forward, so you're resting on the back of the shoulder, so I'm not crashing that shoulder. The head resting on the mat or raised on top of the block. The knee is down in front, making sure that it's directly in front of the hips, directly in front of the belly. Top hand, I'm going to put it up on the head to begin with, just focusing on that rotation. I'm going to take a deep breath in to prepare. And then as I breathe out, I'm going to turn the rib cage to face the ceiling. See if I can encourage that rotation through. Easing your way back. And then trying again. Noticing any difference between the rotation on this side and the other. On this side, I might find that the movement feels a lot easier, or it feels a lot more restricted. Notice the knee. Can you keep the knee down on the ground? Or are you lifting the knee off the ground? Can you try and keep it down? So making sure that the hips are not going anywhere. It's just your back rotating through. Easing back. And then trying again. Opening. And closing. And then as I feel the back is a little bit looser, the movement feels a little bit better, then I'm going to add the arm. So raising the arm up and towards the ceiling, I'm going to go for that nice opening through, finding the angle that gives the stretch across the front of the shoulder, front of the chest. And then I'm going to ease my way back and then trying again. Same as you did on the other side. Try not to focus on the hand touching the ground. Imagine possible to get both shoulders on the ground and then the arm is just following through with that movement. So trying to keep the hand again slightly higher than the shoulder, slightly higher than the head. Really finding that angle, that encouraging the front of the chest, the front of the shoulder to open up, to relax. The knee still down on the ground, I'm not taking it with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. I'm going to hold that opening. See if I can use that arm as a dead weight to encourage the back to rotate a little bit further, encouraging the front of the chest to open up a little bit more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Giving the shoulder a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulder, releasing the back. So there's a little bit more movement at the top, a little bit more connection into the hip. I'm going to try and see if I can load it from the front. So rolling over onto your back, bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you, setting your neutral as a line down on the back. The lower back is nice and soft, so there's this little gap underneath the lower back. The hips are level, the rib cage is down, shoulders and head on the floor. Again, if I find that the head, the neck doesn't feel that comfortable, my head tilted backwards too far, then I'm just going to pop the block, a towel underneath the head, bringing it up a slightly more comfortable position. Once you're happy that the body's set, then same as you did on all fours, think of the hips and trying to maintain level through the hips. So imagine the two glasses balancing at the front of your hips at this time. I'm going to start lifting the right leg up into tabletop. The right knee comes up directly above the hip, the shin is nice and level, nice and parallel to the ground. The pelvis is not tipped to the right, it's holding its level through. And I'm going to return the foot back down onto the mat, and then with the left leg, see if I can do better. So holding the pelvis nice and level, nice and still, I'm going to lift that left leg up into tabletop, and then I'm going to return it back down, and then onto the other side again. So notice the lift. If the lift is uncontrolled, it becomes a little bit, almost like a little jerk into the lower back. So as the leg lifts, the belly tends to pop up, and then all of the body goes into that little jump. See if you can try and avoid that jump. So see if you can make the lifting as smooth as possible, and then the lowering as controlled as you possibly can. And then same thing to the other side, the lifting as smooth as possible, and then the lowering as controlled as you can. Once you feel that you've got a little bit more control there, then we're going to see if we can start adding on. I'm going to start with the arms. So the next one, as the right leg comes up, I'm going to raise my left arm up and towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to ease back down. Then with that left leg, I'm going to raise the right arm. The shoulder is nice and relaxed. See if you can slow the movement right down. See if you can control throughout the lifting and throughout the lowering. Noticing how different it is to pick up the right, pick up the left leg. See if I can try and find control on both. And then I'm happy with the movement. If I feel comfortable enough there and I want to progress, then on the next one I'm going to raise the right leg and the left arm. Now again, avoiding that jump, I'm going to see if I can pick up the left leg and the right arm. Then I'm going to return the left foot and the right arm back, and then I'm going to release that right leg and the left arm down, and then swapping over. So I'm going to pick up the left foot first, the right arm comes up, again see if I can avoid that pop, see if I can avoid that jump, and then I'm going to pick up the right leg and the left arm, and then returning that right leg and the left arm back, and then releasing that left and the right, and then I'm going to swap over again. So changing the starting leg every time, so you're not repeating with the same pattern, you're changing the pattern each time, so both sides get the same amount of work. Focus on the second leg lifting, as the second leg is the heavy one, as there is nothing left on the floor to give me support. So the tendency is to rush it and then go into that sudden jump, into that sudden jerk, into the sudden sliding. If you find that no matter how hard you're trying, when you're trying to pick up the second leg, you're still going into that jump, then see if you can make the leg shorter. So before you lift it up, see if you can drag the foot a little bit closer to the hips. So I'm going to make the leg a little bit shorter, a little bit lighter, a little bit more manageable to lift. And then see if by making it shorter, you can lift it with a better control. I'm going to try one more time each way. So picking up one leg and the opposite arm, and then if I can, I'm going to take the other leg and the other arm up. Then I'm going to ease them back, and then I'm going to release the other side. And then swapping over, I'm going to pick up the leg and the arm, and then if I can, I'm going to take the other leg and the other arm. Then easing them back, and then easing all the way back down. Extending the legs away, allowing the hips to open, the front of the belly to relax. So a little bit more stability through the pelvis, a little bit more stability control through the legs, I'm going to reverse the movement. This time I want a little bit more control, but coming from the back of the hips. So bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you, feet and knees about to hips width apart. The arms relaxing down the side. I'm going to push down through the soles of the feet and then squeezing with the back of the bum. I want the hips to go into full extension. So allowing the hips to open up as much as you can. Think of your thighs reaching out of your hip socket and then trying to notice where the drive is coming from. It's not coming from the chest. So my chest is not suddenly up to my chin, up to my face. So I'm not going backwards into the lift. I'm just trying to go upwards into the lift. I'm trying to keep it in the hips, in the legs. To come down, I'm going to roll on my way down. I want the ribcage to go down first, tilting the pelvis back, gradually releasing the lower back down, one vertebra at a time as the lower back touches the ground. Then I'm going to let the hips, the bum go back, all the way back into neutral, and then I'm going to squeeze my way up into that bridge again. So driving from the hips, feeling the front of the hips opening, making sure that the two sides are at the same height. One side doesn't feel higher than the other, so I'm not twisting down one way or the other. And then to come down, see if I can get that segmental control. The ribcage first, tilting the pelvis, the lower back follows through, back of the hips, the back of the bum, all the way back into neutral. And then I'm going to squeeze my way up into that lift again. So notice the tension at the back of the bum. Is it working? Are both sides working? Is one working more than the other? If the hamstrings is tightening on one side or both sides, if it's on the verge of a cramp, it is cramping up. It's normally a sign that the bum is not doing a great job. The hamstring is compensating, is over recruiting. So really trying to find that connection into the hips, into the bum. See if I can get it to do its job. See if I can get the hip extension driving from the hips, from the glutes. I'm going to try one more time. So driving your way up into that lift. Squeezing your way up into that bridge. And then rolling your way back down. All the way back into neutral. Giving the legs a little walk and making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel too stiff, too tight. I'm going to give the back of the leg a little bit of a stretch. So grabbing hold of a band, a strap, anything, a towel, something long that you can put around the foot. So you can use this kind of thing, or belt, this kind of thing, anything. Something that is just going to allow me to control the foot. I'm going to set the band, the strap around the ball of the foot, right or left, whichever one you want to begin with. Making sure that the leg is straight as your hamstrings attach to the back of the knee and your seat bone. If the knee bends, I'm giving slack to the hamstrings, so I'm not really stretching them. So see if I can drop the leg, straighten up the knee, making sure that you're not exaggerating and hyperextending, and then keeping the knee straight, the bum stays on the ground. I'm going to gently ease that leg towards me. It's climbing the hands up along the strap, see if you can get a little bit closer and a little bit closer to the right foot. It doesn't matter if I can't go very far, just making sure that to get the stretch going, I'm not bending the knee, I'm not twisting the hip, as that will make me lose the stretch. So see if I can encourage it to stay on. So keeping the knee locked, keeping the bum down onto the ground, to see if I can create that traction that from the seat bone goes all the way up into the heel of the foot. Once that you've got the stretch, once that you've got that tension set, then holding it steady there without bouncing the leg, so making sure that the leg is not going forward and back, just allowing the leg to relax in that position. If I feel that the stretch is getting a little bit easier, then I'm going to pull the leg a little bit closer. If I find that the stretch is not changing, it's still strong, it's still the same, then I'm just going to wait there. Just making sure that you're not pulling so hard that the leg starts shaking. So making sure that the pull is hard enough, uncomfortable, but not excruciating, painfully. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Switching the band around to the left foot, nice and flat against the left foot. Right leg, I'm going to extend it away if possible, keeping it bent if you need to. Just making sure the same as on the other side, your hips are staying on the ground so the bum is not curling up in the air. So with the hips I'm trying to hold down, I'm going to lock the knee and then I'm going to start pulling with the arms, easing that left leg towards you. Same as you did on the right side. Trying to find that point where you feel that you've got a little resistance into the back of the leg. Again, uncomfortable but not excruciatingly painful. And then notice this leg on this side, I might need a little bit more time. The leg feels really tight, or on this side it feels really easy. The leg is moving a lot closer. It's whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to let the leg do what it wants to do. Holding it steady, same as you did on the other side. When you're ready to go deeper, you pull deeper. If you feel that you can't go any further, then I'm just going to keep it steady there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Releasing the hip, releasing the leg, giving the leg a little walk, making sure that the leg doesn't feel too stiff, it doesn't feel too tight. Then when you're ready, rolling over onto your side, or if you can, extending the legs away, reaching forward into the arms, tilting the chin to the chest, lifting the head, lifting the shoulders, strong through the center, all the way up to the top, using the arms to help if I need, pushing off to the side and lifting if you know that you can't. As you get to the top, finding a comfortable seated position, I'm going to scoop the arms around to the side, bring them up and towards the ceiling, and then let them drop. Lifting up and drop. One more time. Lifting up, holding up, reaching up as high as you can, shoulders down. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow, give yourself a couple there. I hope I'll see you soon.